Hi, I just received a couple boxes from UNI-T, and I think I know what they are, as UNI-T contacted me a while ago and wondered if I could review some of their latest test gear. So in the next couple of videos, we will look at them one by one. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, as I'm sure you'll be interested. This box that is currently sitting on the workbench, I believe, is a UNI-T UPO1204 200 MHz 4-channel digital oscilloscope. Let's take a look, and I think you can see here the model number says it's a UPO1204, so I think that is what it is. And we'll open it up shortly and take a look in this video. My review videos tend to be on the long side, so I thought I would do a separate casual unboxing video and show you guys some of the basics of the scope first. And then we'll do a thorough review and tear down in the next video. Alright, let's open it up and see what we've got inside. Let's cut this open. Oh, it's like a Russian doll here. Box within a box. That's certainly nice packaging, as it will be well protected during shipment. Let's take it out. I guess I'll just dump it out workbench here. The workspace is a little bit tight, so excuse me for that. And that's our UNI-T. You can see from the labeling here, if I can show you, it is ultra phosphor, not your digital phosphor, and the model number is UPO1204. So of course we'll have to take a look at what is up its sleeves in just a little bit. All right. Let's see what's inside. Of course, let's take it out. Oh, it's actually a little bit bigger than I thought it would be. And you can see here, let me put everything else aside and just concentrate on the scope itself. You know what, let's actually lower the camera angle a little bit. And here's the scope itself. Let me unwrap it. Anyway, I think the scope is one of UNI-T's new products. I will leave a link in the video description below, and you can check it out on UNI-T's website at your own leisure. Let's take it out. And as I mentioned earlier, this scope does look like a little bit of bulkier than I had expected, and it's quite heavy. And you can see the side profile. It is not very thin. It's actually pretty thick. Let's take a look at the dimension here. You will see I have the ruler, and the depth is roughly at 4.5 inches here. And let's just see here. The scope is about 12 inches in length, so it's 1 foot, and about 6.5 inches in height. And I think the screen is advertised as a 7-inch LCD, so let's take a look. Yep, it is 7-inch, so that's pretty good. The UPO1204 is the top of the line in the UPO1000 series, which has a 200 MHz bandwidth. You also have the UPO1104, which is the 100 MHz version, and the UPO1054, which is the 50 MHz version. Price-wise, the 1054 comes in at just under $300, which is really a bargain. And the 100 MHz version is priced under $400, which is not bad at all. And the version we have here, the UPO1204, is currently on sale at just above $500, which is quite affordable for a 4-channel 200 MHz bandwidth oscilloscope. Apparently, you can upgrade the 100 MHz version to a 200 MHz version via a software upgrade option, according to UNI-T's website. Now, this tells me that the hardware between the 1104 and 1204 are probably identical, and the bandwidth on the 1104 is software limited. The upgrade option currently is priced at $299, which doesn't make a lot of sense in my opinion, as currently you can just buy the 200 MHz version for just over $100 more than the 100 MHz version at the moment, given the discount on UNI-T's website. So if I were buying one, I would definitely go with the UPO1204. So let's take a look at the scope itself. And it has this, I think it's a matte finish. Let me just remove the screen protector and we can see whether the screen is matte finish or is those shiny stuff. And oh, very good. It seems it's a matte finish, which I like, because glossy finish sometimes reflects too much light, and especially when you're shooting video, it just doesn't come out very well. But this one definitely will work like a treat. I really like it. And here we have, let's see, the channel control, and the button feels just about right. So we'll of course power it on and take a look. The layout of the buttons are fairly clean. And one thing they sacrificed is that you can see here the verticals and horizontals are actually multiplexed across all 4 channels. So we don't have the dedicated buttons for each channel, but that's quite common. So let's take a look at the other side here. And here's the view on the back side. You can see we have the LAN connection and USB connector. And here we have the external trigger and auxiliary output. So that's fairly standard. And the power switch is on the back. So I think I'm going to plug it in and power it up. Before we power it on, actually, let's see what else comes with this scope in the packaging here. By the look of it, we have this. Okay, so this is really just for you to download the operation guide. It actually is not the operation guide itself. And we do have a booklet here. Okay, that's actually not an operation manual. That is just the safety precautions in multiple languages. And we have a certificate of calibration, and it's dated 2023, so it's fairly recent, as this is a new model. And let's see here. And you got, of course, 4 sets of these probes. Now these are, I believe, these are rated for 200 megahertz. These are the UPO5. Actually, let's take a look here. So let me open it up. Let's see if we can, yep, this is UTPO5, you can see. So they do have actually probes at much higher frequency bandwidth. The PO6 is at 300 megahertz, and I believe on the website there are PO7 all the way up to 500 megahertz. And you also get a USB cable to connect to your computer, and of course a power cord. So actually let's put the power cord on and let's plug it in. So let's see if we can adjust the feet a little bit here. Yep, we can. Prop it up. Let's plug it in here. And we'll power it on for the first time. Of course, we have a physical power switch at the back here. So let's turn that on first. And looks like we are on. I'm not sure if it's on or not, but I can hear that is the sound of the fan. Anyway, let me try to press the button here. The sequencing of the lights here are actually quite fascinating here. I don't think I've seen that on any other scopes. So it does take quite some time for it to power up, which is quite typical for the scopes of this complexity here. And it probably took about 30 seconds for it to power up. I didn't time it, but that's the time it felt like. I was just looking at the specs for the scope here, and the sampling rate for the UPO1000 series is at an impressive 2 gig samples per second, which is significantly higher than some of its competitors. For instance, the sampling rate for the Siglent SDS1204XE with the same bandwidth is only at 1 gig samples per second. And the vertical scale on the UPO1000 series goes all the way down to 500 microvolts per division, according to the manual, which is great. And the 500 microvolts per division seems to be the new standard. Budget digital oscilloscopes have certainly come a long way. If you recall, 2 millivolts per division was the norm not too long ago. The storage depth of this scope is also quite impressive. It is specified up to 56 megapoints. Anyway, let's put in a probe and let's take a quick look. Now, I haven't really read the manual yet, so I don't know what to expect, but it should be pretty self-explanatory, at least I'm hoping. So let's see, and let's just color matching this. This probe seems to be for channel 1, so let's put it in. Now, of course, this is just a standard probe. It doesn't have any universal probe interface, so you have to manually select the attenuation here. So let's plug it in. And let's see here, we still have the attenuation switch, and it's switched to be time 10 currently. So I can already see here we're time 1. Now, this is not touch sensitive, so we'll have to figure out how to do that. So let's see here, coupling DC bandwidth, probe, and so far it is very intuitive, and we change it to time 10. Now let's see, we have the probe compensation here. Alright, let's see, how do we auto acquire here? And auto set, that's the button I would assume is doing that. And acquire the signal with no problem. Right now it's DC coupling, so you can see we start with 0, and up here is roughly about. Let's not worry about the cursor just yet. Let's actually first calibrate the probe. So let me take the screwdriver out. And by the way, the probes come with these accessories. As you can see, these are quite standard. And let's take a look here. So the calibration is on, yeah, it's here. So let's adjust. And that's pretty decent, I would say. Since we're just playing around here, my goal today is, without referring to any manual, be able to figure out how to do some basic measurements and adjust the triggers. So let's see here. The measurement, let's see. I would assume it's a measure. And channel all data. Let's actually take a look at all data on. Okay, so you can see we do have all the measurements here. Now, of course, I assume we can actually select some of the data here. So let's do user defined. Let's do voltage. Let's see, what do we do here? Let's do peak to peak. And oh, we can select multiple. That's great. So let's do a frequency here. We already have a frequency displayed. I assume this is the frequency counter here built in. So let's do frequency, and that's actually pretty neat. So you can see here now, how do I get off the menu? Yep. So you can see we have now 3 volts peak to peak and frequency 1 kilohertz. Of course, it's also measured by the frequency counter. And of course, we can change the position here, and we can also change the horizontal position. And let's change the scale here. And let's do some measurements. And let's enable the cursor. Okay, so the beginning of the cursor and the end of the cursor. Yep, that is actually pretty intuitive. Now you can see that between the 2 cursors, we get 1000 microvolts, which is 1 millivolts, which is exactly 1 kilohertz. So no issues at all. And I assume we can also measure voltage here. Let's see, yeah, voltage here. So let's do that. Oh, it turned off the other one? It would be nice if these 2 can stay on at the same time. And unfortunately, we'll have to switch between them. Okay, that's fine. So let's take a look here. So the voltage up, 1 and 2. So no issues, roughly 3 volts. Of course, we're a little bit under here, so that's why it's showing 2.98. It would be nice if we can simultaneously display the vertical and horizontal cursors. and I have to refer to the manual to see if this is indeed the case. But right now, from the user interface, you can see that we can select either time or voltage measurement. What is the screen here? Oh, okay. So I just figured out if you select screen here, it actually displays both vertical and horizontal. All right, so that's not bad. And let's take a look at the trigger here. So trigger menu, you can see we're doing edge triggering, and we have a bunch of options here. And obviously for this use case, the edge trigger is the most optimal one. And slope, rising edge, falling edge. Yep, you can see that. That works as expected. Of course, we barely scratched the surface here, and this is really just an unboxing video trying to show you what came with this UPO1204 and what it looks like. And so far, everything looks pretty decent. And I'll definitely spend the next few days going through all the features and functionalities, and I will report back. And by the way, just for the relative size comparison, I brought out my Handtech DSO 2D10 you can see on the side. And you can see that the UPO1204 is ever so slightly taller than the DSO 2D10. And of course, if you look at the side, it is also a little bit thicker than the DSO 2D10 as well. So overall, it is slightly larger oscilloscope, and of course, it is a lot more feature rich, but just want to give you a relative size comparison here. All right, I hope you enjoyed this quick unboxing video, and we'll definitely do a detailed review and teardown in the upcoming video. If you liked the video, please remember to give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Your participation makes videos like this possible. Thanks for watching, and I will catch up with you next time.